Cleopatra, the daring queen of the Nile. Dead? Cleopatra repeated. Yes, mistress, the servant again said. Suddenly her life dramatically changed because of her father's death. As a young girl of 18, Cleopatra was thrust into ruling one of the most powerful countries in the world. Having been brought up in the royal line, she was highly educated, which prepared her for her role as queen. Maturity brought the chances to exercise her womanly skills. Upon their meeting, Julius Caesar, the Roman dictator, immediately fell for Cleopatra's charm. Mark Antony was also one who could not resist her royal splendor. As a flame she burned brightly, however her shining was destined to be brief. Cleopatra's early life in royalty destined her rise to power as Queen of Egypt. In 69 BC, she entered a city full of riches and style. She was born into dazzling Alexandria, which was an advanced part of Egypt. Interestingly, although Cleopatra and her 5 brothers and sisters were Egyptian citizens, they were not Egyptian, but rather Greeks. As most people could see, Cleopatra was an exceptionally bright woman. She was the only Ptolemy of the dynasty to learn the Egyptian language. When her father died, his will stated that Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy would rule together as king and queen, but with Cleopatra making all the decisions. Soon Ptolemy betrayed Cleopatra because he wanted the throne and all its power to himself, forcing Cleopatra to flee Alexandria. Cleopatra was now in a predicament. She too wanted the throne, but Ptolemy had Egypt's army. In order for her to return to her throne, she needed aid from a strong army. What army? Rome's army. At the time, Rome was the most powerful empire in the world, with Julius Caesar controlling it as dictator. She persuaded Julius Caesar and he restored her to her rightful place as Queen of Egypt. Cleopatra's rise to power had many challenges. However, her early life as an Egyptian princess helped her to become queen. Cleopatra experienced 2 loves in the short life that she had. Her first love was Julius Caesar, who was called the most powerful man in the world. At the time, Cleopatra needed help to get back to her throne. When Julius Caesar came to Egypt, it seemed perfect. She just needed to talk to him. But how? Cleopatra didn't waste any time. She was rolled into a carpet, and one of her servants brought her right into Julius Caesar's chambers. He was told the carpet was a gift from Queen Cleopatra, and that she wished him to unroll it. Julius Caesar unrolled the luxurious carpet, and there she was. Instantly, Julius Caesar fell in love with her, spending many delightful hours with her while in Egypt. Julius Caesar gave Cleopatra not only her throne, but also his heartfelt devotion. When Julius Caesar at last came back to Rome, his time was short-lived. Soon thereafter, he was murdered. After he died, Cleopatra discovered a second love, Mark Antony. Mark Antony asked if she could come to Rome so that they could talk about Egypt aiding his war. Cleopatra decided that she would come to listen, but was also interested in Mark himself. Soon she was in the almighty Rome, and Mark Antony had fallen for her charm. She helped him with his war, but she also gave him her loyal, lasting love. Eventually, the two were inseparable. They were pulling pranks on the townspeople and drinking alcohol. Those were the 2 loves Cleopatra had in her short lifetime. In the end, Cleopatra lost her powers, which aided in her demise. She thought everything was going wonderfully, but trouble was brewing. It wasn't long before Egypt was at war. Because of Cleopatra's love and heartfelt devotion to Mark Antony, she helped him with yet another war, but with a new enemy, Rome. Unfortunately for him, at the Battle of Octavian, Rome triumphed. With this victory, Rome had won the war. Naturally, Cleopatra was horrified. Meanwhile, Cleopatra fled to her unfinished mausoleum. Everything was going wrong. A servant told Mark Antony that Cleopatra was dead, as if he didn't have enough to worry about. As he desperately thought everything over, he came to a devastating conclusion. The answer? Death. Waves crashed, thunder roared, lightning flashed. At least it felt like it to Cleopatra. Through her blurry eyes, she could see her people outside the gate. Today had been Mark Antony's funeral. How could he do this? Life is only misery to me now, Cleopatra muttered. She came to the same decision that her beloved Mark Antony had. The Egyptians mourned the loss of their loyal queen Cleopatra. Her life had been taken by suicide, but she had reasons too. One of them would be Mark Antony's and Caesar's death. Another is when the war was won by Rome, she wasn't queen anymore. As everyone can see, Cleopatra's lack of power and loss of her love seriously contributed to her demise. Without Mark Antony, Cleopatra lost all hope. Now she could see no future for the dynasty because her position as queen was lost. She just couldn't bear life. When she was young, her father died, whom she loved deeply. Her first love was murdered, and eventually she lost her second love, who tragically committed suicide. Well, she also had wonderful times. For instance, meeting and falling in love with the triumphant Julius Caesar or joyous Mark Antony. They went through a lot together. Wars, making a family, love, and heartbreak. Unfortunately, Cleopatra followed in Mark Antony's path. Famous for grand entrances, as she was, Cleopatra also had a grand exit. Most significantly, we remember her as a conniving, influential, and daring queen. Thank you.
Very talented actress. You know, you think about Cleopatra. She was so gifted, so incredibly gifted. And how did she use her gifts? What did she build her house on? Did she build her house on the rock, or did she build her house on the sand? Even though power of Egypt seemed like a rock, unless it's on God, what is it? You know, that was really phenomenal. Thank you. Okay, one more. We're traveling all over the world today.